on. All right, so we just record today so that we've got it available to share to everybody who registered and didn't arrive. So thank you for joining us today for this TechSoup Connect. TechSoup Connect is all about technology for social good. TechSoup, if you're not aware, is a large nonprofit in the US that probably is chiefly known because they run nonprofit donation and discount programs for companies like Microsoft and Google, Symantec, Norton, and people like that. So if you're involved in any nonprofits, you can register them with TechSoup, and TechSoup will advise what programs are available to support the organization. Any nonprofit really should register with them to be able to access donated discounted technology. Things like the Google for Nonprofits program is run through TechSoup, Microsoft's Office 365 donation program. So a lot of technology that can be used operationally for nonprofits and save them a ton of cash. So just going to share my screen with you all. So today, let's make this as interactive as we can. Any questions that you've got, fire them through on the chat, and I will answer them as we go through the session. But let's get underway then. So today we want to talk all about marketing automation and personalization. Just to put it into context, we'll start with an example, if you will. And I have giant feet, okay? They look kind of somewhere between a duck's feet and Thorpe's feet. So they're big old flippers, right? So for me, getting shoes, it's somewhat difficult because I need a big shoe and I also need a wide shoe. So when I eventually find a shoe that works for me, I'm really happy and I'm sold, and I just keep buying that shoe as long as it's available. And so that's what happened to me with this particular shoe. We're not going to advertise particular companies here. I found a shoe that finally fit my ridiculously big feet, and I was sold. And so then the follow-up to my purchase process with my ridiculously big feet was I get an email, right? And because everyone does email marketing and, you know, we've got to send an email, right? The boss wants me to send out a blast. And so I get this email in my inbox, and it's talking about the perfect fit for my feet. And, you know, that's what I want. I want the perfect fit. I want a shoe I can walk in, a shoe I can run in, and it suits me down to the ground. And so I get this and I go, I'm gonna shop men's shoes, done. And you know what happens? My size is sold out. All right. And so then they send me another email a couple of weeks later, similar messaging. I'm still sold. I love these shoes. I'm going to keep buying these shoes. I click on the button, sold out, sold out, sold out, sold out. So when you're just getting a ton of these kind of emails, what do you do? Like, all right, I'm just getting inundated with email newsletters. Every damn time I click on the button for these emails, they're always sold out. So what's the conclusion here? Well, you unsubscribe, right? And so that's what you do. That's what I do anyway. So, but it's such a shame because let's stop and think for a sec. By me purchasing a pair of shoes from the nameless company that we won't name and shame, what do they actually know about me? So they know some pretty basic stuff. So they know my name and address. Cool. So if they were running an event, they could let me know about something in Adelaide. They know my gender. Okay, they know my gender, they know my shoe size, they know my width, they know my foot arch type, because I've purchased a pair of shoes from them before that fit a certain foot arch type. They know my type of shoe preference. So they know I like a cushion shoe. They know I like to float on the clouds as I walk along. They know when I last bought shoes, because shoes aren't something that, not to cast judgment on anyone, but shoes aren't generally something that people buy every day. And they know my subscription status. So they know whether I'm subscribed to their newsletter or not. They probably know even more about me, but just at a basic high level, this is the kind of stuff they know about me. So if we considered what we could really do with personalization here, what could they be doing to get me to actually buy shoes and take more notice of their marketing? Let's look at a very basic kind of example. So change the subject line around. So now it actually has my name and it's telling me my size is on sale. Oh, I'd pay attention to that. Shoes are expensive. They're on sale. Great. They know when I last bought shoes. So not only is my size on sale, but it's time for new shoes. Did you know that if you're running daily, you should replace your shoes every 3 months? Well, I mean, it's been 4 months and maybe I haven't run every day, but great. You deserve a perfect fit. So we've got your size on sale this week. They know my size. They haven't mentioned my size, but they're confident that they've got my size on sale. And I'm confident that if they're sending me this, then my size, when I click on the button, will take me through to my size in stock. Fantastic. Hey, we've got another shoe. You might like to try the new Glycerin. It's our new neutral cushioning shoe, because that's what I bought last time. I bought a neutral cushioning shoe. I didn't buy that neutral cushioning shoe, but I bought a neutral cushioning shoe. So now they can upsell me based on what they know about what I purchased in the past. And okay, in my example here, I've still got a shop men and shop women button, but sometimes it's worth still promoting the opposite gender, because maybe somebody wants to buy a gift or something like that. So you don't want to totally go down the personalization path and exclude other use cases. So looking at this email, compared to the email that we had at the start, isn't this something that's more likely to get you to actually take action and get you to buy a pair of shoes? Certainly would work for me, because it indicates they know me. It indicates they've considered what I need, and I'm going to have a good experience on the other side because what I want is in stock. So here's the first part. But like, what if I unsubscribe? People are still going to unsubscribe. I know it's very easy for marketers to take unsubscribes super personally, but that's not the intention of the unsubscribe. So what do we do if people are still unsubscribing from a personalized email? Well, what if we could put unsubscribes in an unsubscribe ad audience and run specific ads for those people on Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn? We know you've subscribed in the past. Come back. Why don't we'll give you a discount offer to come back? We could move people between different ad audiences based on the time since their last order. because again, maybe they'll order at different times. We could target ads to incentivize new orders, different subscription, get them to subscribe, win back subscriptions. Okay, you've just ordered a pair of shoes. Why don't you come back and add yourself back onto our email newsletter, and we'll give you a $5 voucher or something like that. Or consider something like, okay, well, they've opted out, so we'll just send them a final breakup SMS because we can't email them anymore, and just say, hey, cool, you're taking a break from emails, that's fine. We'd love to have you back. Click on this to come back. And that's just like a tiny little segment of what we could do for their unsubscribes, because we still know a lot of things about them. And we can still, just because they're unsubscribed doesn't mean they are completely dead to us. And we shouldn't treat them like they're completely dead to us, because there's lots of people that are quite happy customers that are unsubscribed. But if I buy, why don't you put me into an exclusion ad audience for Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn for 3 months-ish until I need shoes again? Because not all of us are going to buy shoes every day. Most of us are probably not going to buy shoes every day. I don't want to be negative towards those people that really love shoes, but okay. So if we know that the average lifespan of a pair of sneakers is 3 months, then let's not advertise to them for 3 months, or at least advertise them something different. Let's move people between audiences based on the time since their last order. So I've ordered a pair of this particular shoe in this particular size. Let's exclude me from ads relating to that shoe for a bit and bring me across into something that's cross-selling me clothing to go with my shoes, or socks, or, hey, did you know this other shoe is also available in this particular size? It meets your criteria. Maybe you'd like to buy that as well. Send me new emails for new models that suit my fit and preference. Don't bother sending something that's completely unrelated. Send me a new email to remind me to replace my daggy shoes. You know, if you've got running shoes that are past their use by date and the foam has all run out in them, it can actually give you injuries. So let's send people a reminder and help them out. And definitely send me an email if my shoes are in stock or on sale, because I want to know when they're in stock because it's a weird size, and I want to know when they're on sale because that's when I need to buy them. Cool. So there is my small example. So now let's actually look into what is it that we actually do with marketing automation. And it's exactly what I've just detailed that unnamed shoe company could do. Marketing automation is not actually about automating out all of our marketing jobs. It is about getting the right message to the right person at the right time. And I'm going to say that a lot today because it's so important. And if you take out one thing from this session today, it's that it's about the right message to the right person at the right time. Don't use your marketing automation platform to bulk email and spam and just keep doing what you've been doing. Use it to really narrow down your focus so that you're getting the right message to the right person at the right time. So it is about automating campaign actions and follow-ups based on the actions that people take. So that's about the right time. I know that this person is likely to buy a new pair of shoes because they were just on my website and they haven't bought a pair of shoes for 2 months. There is a contextual action that person has taken that I can now follow up. It is about being able to personalize and contextualize communication at scale. You can't send out an individual email to every single person in your database. It's just not realistic, unless your database is really small, but that's beside the point. We want to be able to send the right communication to the right person with their specific wants and needs in it. Rather than replacing marketers, it helps small marketing teams deliver big impacts. And it really doesn't replace humans, but what it does is allows you to focus the personal touch where it's most valuable. So rather than spending time on manually sending emails, where if you get your messaging right and you get your personalization right, you don't actually need a human to write all of those, but maybe you can get the human to get on the phone. And that's something you've never been able to do before because you haven't had the bandwidth to do it. The personal touch will always be valuable. It'll be more valuable the more AI comes into marketing, but you want to focus it on where it's most valuable. So why do we want to automate our marketing? Again, it's about delivering the right message to the right person at the right time. And you can't do that manually. It's not realistic from a capacity perspective. It's not financially viable to hire enough people to be able to do that. You just imagine how, depending on how many people visit your website, if you had just 2,000 people visiting your website in a month, how would you contact all of those people? You'd have to hire 50 people just to keep up. And it's also not, you're not able to do every action in a timely manner. With marketing automation, you can do it when the user is doing it. But if you're not automating marketing, you don't have that option, unless it's a slow day, I guess. And old-fashioned bulk email just doesn't cut it. Old-fashioned bulk email just sends, it's a bit of the spray and pray type approach. Just hope for the best. It gets diminishing returns, it gets spam complaints. So we want to move on from that and move towards this personalization, which is what we can get by automating it. So what can we actually do with marketing automation? And so we can do all the basics. We can send emails, we can send SMS, we can add people to ad audiences, so Google, Facebook, LinkedIn. We can connect on LinkedIn, whether that's a good or a bad thing, depends on your world perspective. If it's done well, it's a good thing. If it's done poorly and you get another outsourcing request, you can register people for events and webinars. You can assign leads to sales reps. You can send notifications. You can create tasks for sales reps. These are just like the basic things that you can do. But when we talk about your tech stack in a minute, it'll really give you an idea of the more things that you've got integrated. What you can do with marketing automation is basically up to your imagination. So once we've got all of those basics in place, we can personalize. So you can do basic things like merge tags. And, we've been using merge tags for a fair while now. We can do customized send times. So we actually use artificial intelligence to understand when every contact in our CRM has typically opened and engaged with our emails. And we use that data to send every email that we send to our users at a unique time of day when they're most likely to actually respond to it. You can contextualize content to actions people have taken. So I've used the shoe example quite a bit. It's a really good, simple example that you can do. But likewise, depending on the industry that you're in, you could tell somebody in an email that you know that they might be in the market for a new car, or you know that they've just been on your website and you want to give them a hand. You can get feedback when it's relevant. We use marketing automation so that when a support ticket is closed, we automatically send a feedback survey. And depending on the result of that feedback survey, we will do a follow-up from there as well. That is part of what allows us to improve the customer experience, because you can automate every stage of that journey in that process, so you can communicate better with your prospects. And also improve the relevancy of communications. People get excited because they know that the email or the communication is about them. It's not just about what you wanted to communicate to them this week. So with our personalized content, this is about showing the right content to the right people. So we can use smart content to control the display of different things. So maybe we display different paragraphs of text or different call to actions on our website based on people being in a list in our CRM, based on, the list membership might be based on people who are already customer, people using a certain service, people who bought a certain pair of shoes, whatever the case may be. We can display this smart content in a range of different locations. So on a landing page, we can run a consistent landing page, but we can show different content based on the keyword that drove somebody to the landing page, or the channel that drove somebody to the landing page. Hey, Facebook friend, see you've just come in, good job. We can display it in email copies so that our emails are more effective. On our web pages, if we know that somebody's from a particular industry vertical, we can then show them copy on our homepage that's specific to that industry vertical. Say you might tackle 3 main industry verticals, but you know that somebody who's just come into your website has only ever visited your nonprofit industry vertical page. Well, on the homepage, you can show them that you are the leader in nonprofit recruitment, because you know that that's what's going to tick their box because they are a nonprofit and that's what they want to see. And also things like your call to actions. So if you know that somebody's already a customer, you can show them a different call to action. It shouldn't be sign up here. It should be click here to book a meeting with your account contact. Because we don't want you to sign up as a customer again. We've already got you as a customer. We love working with you. And if you want more information about this, let's bring you on board. So why are we doing this beyond it's kind of a nice thing to do? We're doing it because people engage with our marketing. Our content becomes more relevant to the people that we're targeting, and it provides a great customer experience. And that might seem all like nice and fluffy, but that actually means something to a business. It means improved open rates on your emails. It means improved click-through rates on emails, call to actions, advertising. It means improved conversion rates on your website. All of that means improved ad spend efficiency. It means improved return on ad spend and improved visibility over results because you're able to track all of those things. So we're not just doing this to be nice marketers, and we're not doing this to make people like us. We're doing it because it does all of that, but it also allows us to improve our results. So it's a win-win. So I haven't got any questions yet, so we'll keep going. But if you do have any questions, please put them into the chat and I will stop and grab them as they come through. So to do this, there are a couple of things that you need in place. And so it's really important to get your tech stack right from the outset so that we've got all the tracking in place, we understand what's happening with our data, and we've actually been capturing the information that we need to be able to personalize our marketing for the audience. So how do we actually go about this? Because the good thing is it's not actually as technical as you might think or as it used to be. So you start with an audit, and an audit sounds complicated, but it's just, what are you using at the moment? Create a big list. Where is your customer data? This is going to tell you the integrations that you might need. That's going to help you decide what platforms you're going to need to use down the track. It's going to help you understand what data you've currently collected about customers, which will also help you understand what data you're not collecting about customers that you want to be able to collect. Then you need to map your customer journeys. So what do you actually need to automate? Because it all sounds very nice to automate all this stuff, but we have specific reasons for automating it. So we have specific things that we want to automate. So think about things like, what are your current marketing journeys? How do people become a lead? How do people become a customer? What happens to people before and after they become a customer? My favorite one is just to look at your entire process of a customer from their first contact with your company to when they finish up with your company, or when they finish their project or the task they've asked you to do. And in doing that process as a complete piece, you understand your marketing journey, you understand your sales journey, and then you understand the parts along the way where you're like, you know what, light bulb moment, we can automate that. And automating it means that person will have a better experience with us. You know, what would happen if instead of somebody signing a proposal and then they don't hear anything for 2 days, what would happen if they just immediately got an email saying, hooray, thanks for becoming a customer, Simon, really appreciate your support. Here's what's going to happen in your journey with us over the next couple of weeks. Here's the information that we're going to need from you. So make sure you start getting that ready. You get excited because you've just made a commitment to work with us. I'm excited about the information that I need to bring over as well. So we've got our marketing journeys, brilliant. Then we can start to think about how we can use automation to improve them. Then we can start to think about how we can use automation to personalize them. And then also, what kind of surprise and delight type elements would we love to add? So, okay, we know all of this information about somebody. So what can we do to just add something nice into that journey so that they get that warm, fuzzy feeling about working with us? You know, one example might be a video that just says, hey, you know, thanks for coming aboard, really appreciate it. Or it might be a joke or an Easter egg. You know, even if you're in B2B, you are allowed to have jokes. It's okay. You are allowed to show a bit of personality. People like that. It's not all serious. So yeah, really start to think about how you can bring that on board. And notice, I haven't really discussed much tech-wise at this point. So we did our audit, and that's really just a list. I don't need to understand what each of these pieces of technology does. I just need to have the list. And then I'm mapping the customer journeys. And this is a flowchart, a diagram, whatever makes sense in your head. I've seen people use something like Miro, which is an online flowcharting software to do it. Love Miro, great way to do it. Seen people use an old school whiteboard. People use spreadsheets, not my preferred way of doing it, but if your brain works that way, it's more important that you get it on a piece of paper or get it in some kind of file than you do it in a certain way. All right, so we've done our audit, we've mapped our customer journeys. So now we need to start with the core of our tech stack. So from here, we would be starting with the implementation of a CRM. And so your CRM is really that piece of technology that is going to store all of this personalization data that you're going to use to be able to personalize your marketing journeys and your marketing automation. So before you pick one, you want to look for a CRM with integrations with the other tools that you use, which is why we created that list right up the start. We want to look at one with off-the-shelf integrations with tools that you might want to use in the future. Hey, we're thinking about going heavy on video marketing, so we want something that's going to integrate with Wistia or 23 down the track. Cool. You want to look for value for money, because, so notice I didn't say the cheapest. You want to look for value for money. And in my personal opinion, you want to look for as few moving parts as possible. Because if you're integrating all of these things together, you don't want an integration to break mid-marketing journey and something goes wrong. So I'm going to talk a little bit about HubSpot in a sec, just because that's the one that we chose to use. And then that's the one that we chose to partner with. So I'm not selling HubSpot, but it is the one that I know the best. So I want to share my experience with HubSpot. Salesforce, a lot of us would be using Salesforce or be aware of Salesforce. But then there's other platforms like ActiveCampaign. MailChimp is quite a robust platform now, Keep. And the last one there is a bit odd, but Shopify. I found that so many e-commerce businesses that we talk to are actually using Shopify as their CRM. And Shopify will store a lot of different data about the interactions that that person has had with a business that's in e-com. It's not a good solution because you don't have the same level of customization over the data you're storing that you do with a HubSpot or a Salesforce. But I'm just being realistic. A lot of people would be using Shopify as their CRM. So now we've got a CRM. We've got one central point of information. We have a central source of truth with all of our customer data. So now we can look at bringing on board a marketing automation tool to support that. So marketing automation tool, the things that I think you need to look for here are basically the same list. So we want integrations with other tools that you use, because your marketing automation tool has to integrate with your CRM. We want off-the-shelf integrations with tools you want to use in the future for the same reason. So a little bit of forward forecasting is good here, because you don't want to commit fully to, let's say, Keep and find that it doesn't connect with something that's critical to your business. You still want value for money. All of us want value for money. But with a marketing automation tool, you also really want ease of use. Because if you can't use it, you're not gonna create your journeys. You're not going to commit to the personalization and the automation. And finally, you want publicly available training materials. Because if your marketing automation tool requires you to bring in a consultant for a full day of training every time you want to make a change to your journey, that doesn't really allow you to be proactive, doesn't really allow you to make adjustments to your journeys, to make improvements along the way. So again, my recommendation here, you'll see that there's a couple of people that are pretty consistent here. So HubSpot has the CRM and the marketing automation tool in one platform. And I think that is a huge benefit. ActiveCampaign, MailChimp, they are the same in that sort of world of having automation and CRM in the same tool. Keep does the same thing. And Klaviyo is probably the e-commerce marketers marketing automation tool of choice. So you've got a couple of different options there. Klaviyo is probably not one that I'd recommend for B2B type businesses, but the others would be pretty universal. So what does this actually look like in our business? Well, I prepared a little breakdown of what our tech stack looks like. This is a very simplified version of our tech stack. So for us, we have HubSpot at the center of our tech stack. So that is our CRM, is our marketing, our sales, and our support tool. So it stores all of our stakeholder information, directs our marketing automation, and also tracks the return on investment that we get from our marketing. So HubSpot runs our website, it runs our marketing, it runs our sales process, and our support process. So you can kind of understand the power that you have from being able to know everything from when somebody interacted with your website to what deals that they've had in play and which ones might have closed, won or lost, to when their last support ticket was. If you can do all of that in one place, you can personalize so much more based on what they're doing. We use Sakari generally as an SMS tool. HubSpot doesn't have its own SMS tool. So if we want to be able to send an SMS to a prospect, that's what we use. We use Cradle for our phone system. So Cradle is a SaaS product based in New Zealand, integrates with HubSpot. So it does really cool things for us, like if you ring our office, it logs your phone call automatically against your contact record in HubSpot. So we know when we last spoke to you. It also transcribes the call, so we know what we spoke to you about. And it gives us feedback like, you promised the customer these couple of things. So we know that if we had a phone call with you, we've got a reminder in case we miss something. We use Air Wallets and Stripe for our credit card payments, depending on the country. And again, that allows us to log the payment information in the CRM and really understand what's happening on a whole of customer lifecycle perspective. We use Seventh Sense as that AI tool that I mentioned, where we can optimize the send time of every single email. Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn for our audiences and our conversion events. They all come into HubSpot. So if a deal is closed won in HubSpot, that actually fires a conversion action back to Facebook, Google, and LinkedIn with the value of that deal. So we truly understand the return on investment of those channels. 23 and Wistia are our video hosting and analytics tools. So we know who's watched what video when. Google Workspace we use for email, documents, and video meetings. Typeform for forms and surveys, and Slack for chat and notifications internally. So you can see, like, some of you won't need all of those pieces. So you can see that that'll be a reasonably quick way of putting together your list of the tools that you're using. Some of you won't use anywhere near as many tools as that, which is fine. But understand what you're doing with those tools, and then you have to be able to understand what gets plugged together. For us, some of these tools actually followed our HubSpot purchase decision, and we went into buying HubSpot knowing that it would connect to most of the things that were available on the market. Well, actually, my next slide is why we use HubSpot. So we feel like this is the platform that makes it possible for everyone to afford a decent CRM. Because before HubSpot had a free CRM offering, you really, if you wanted a good CRM, you bought Salesforce, and most people would spend sort of $30,000 a year upwards, plus the implementation cost. But HubSpot really have a solution at any price point. Ease of integration was one of the big things that sold me, because it connects to nearly anything out of the box. So we don't have to write custom integrations for very many things. Ease of use and training. So not only is it pretty easy to use, but HubSpot provides you with a free HubSpot Academy, and they have a big user base online now. So they have really good online tutorials, and you can use it for marketing, you use it for sales and donations if you're a nonprofit, services support, and website and your CMS. The other thing is, because it's an all-in-one solution, you have less moving parts, so less things to break in your journeys. You have less subscription fees because you've only bought this tool, and less logins for people to forget. But let's talk now about a couple of examples of bringing it all together. So we've done our lists. We've considered what we need to integrate with. We've decided on a CRM, decided on a marketing automation platform. Let's see what it looks like in reality. So here's a very simple donation flow that, that we use with a customer. And so you can see here, there's a bit going on, but it's actually a really simple process because it just steps through. So somebody makes a donation. Now, if somebody makes a donation, you can just put up on the screen, thank you for your donation, or you could nurture that person into becoming a more significant donor. So what we would typically do is try to encourage them to understand what their donation did, how impactful that donation has been, and then would you like to make another donation? So once they've made a donation, we're going to send them a thank you email. Thank you for your donation. This is what the output is. Really appreciate it. And then we'll follow that up with a thank you SMS, because some people don't check their email very often. Some people aren't at their desk, they're in the field. So SMS provides us with better cut through there. And then we're going to wait 7 days because we don't want to overdo this. We don't want to just bombard them with stuff. So after 7 days, we're going to send them an email and say, hey, look, that $50 donation that you made, that allowed us to provide this level of support to the community. Thank you so much for that. Do you want to have more impact? Well, you could either make another donation, we'd really appreciate it, or why don't you consider becoming a regular donor? And if you become a regular donor, you can have this impact every month. How good would that make you feel? So there's a few things that we know about this person already that we're mentioning here. We know their name, we know their email address and their phone number, we know how much they donated, and we know how often they donate. So then we're going to give them 7 days. We've planted the seed, we've given them 7 days, and we're going to say, we've got to make a decision here. Did they make a once-off or a regular donation as a result of this email? If they upgraded to becoming a regular donor, we're actually going to end this process completely. And this is probably a mistake that a lot of people make when they're starting out with marketing automation. You don't want to do too much in the one workflow. You can do separate workflows. So we're going to end this workflow for people that become regular donors. And then we're going to start a separate workflow where we enroll them in a workflow to thank them for their regular donation. And of course, being a nonprofit that's shamelessly fundraising, we're going to try and upsell their regular donation because that's what we do, right? But if they made a once-off donation, well, we really appreciate their once-off donation, but we're going to go back and we're going to email them and we're going to say, here are some solid reasons why you should become a regular donor. Like, we've been subtle about it so far, just talking about impact, but we really want you to become a regular donor. And then in some organizations where they're big enough to be able to have people that can call, we're going to set a reminder in the CRM to call that donor in the next 3 days. And then we're going to wait 3 days. And then we're going to do a little check here and go, did that actually get called? Or was somebody too busy or unwell or whatever to do it? So if they weren't called, we're going to SMS the person who was supposed to call, or the people that were supposed to call, and ask them to make that call. And then we're going to wait 3 days. We're going to check if they were called. And so basically we're going to sit here until somebody from the team, I'm going to sit here, sit in that little loop there until somebody calls them. And then we're going to go, did they become regular donors? So yes, they were called. So did they become regular donors? No. Let's start this process again. Or yes, we're going to end it and we're going to go back to that regular donor upsell process. So that's reasonably simplified here. We'd usually send a bit more information before we start getting as hard sell as we've got there. But it's a surface level example of what we can do to personalize, contextualize, and automate a fundraising process. And you'll notice that we don't actually automate out the humans here. We focus them in on making a phone call where we know that they'll get the most impact. Because for the organization that we worked with on this particular workflow, their close rates on phone calls were crazy high. But by running the workflow, they had less people to call because a lot of people upgraded before they got there. So I'll give you another small example. So this is a client of ours that we actually won an award from HubSpot for the work that we did with them. They're a software as a service app for helping tradies produce quotes when they're out in the field. And this is their technology stack. So there's a couple of different things that you can see here. So first of all, we've got that central CRM. In this case, we used HubSpot. And that ran their marketing, their sales, their service and support, and their website. So we stored a lot of information about their clients there. And you can see in the bottom left, they use Stripe as a credit card gateway and a product called ChargeBee as their billing system. And that fed that information into HubSpot. So we knew who was an active subscriber, who was in a trial, who was a lapsed subscriber, who was on a free tier, who was on a paid tier, etc. Excuse me. So that allowed us to contextualize workflows and automation based on where the customer was in their consideration journey with that product. We know you're on a free tier. Why don't you get on a demo call and we'll show you the ropes so that you can get to grips with the product faster. We used Aircall as their phone system. Aircall is similar to Cradle in terms of its functionality, but it's probably a bit more useful when you're doing outbound calling. We use 7th Sense to optimize their email send times. We fed data into their advertising platforms so that people could be targeted based on whether they were in trial, out of trial, lapsed, not a subscriber yet, etc. And we used 23 for their videos so that we knew whether somebody was accessing their support videos or not. And just Databox as a reporting tool to be able to report on everything in one place. So a couple of benefits of this approach, and these are very much the benefits I talked about before. It was personalizing content for different trades. So they supported, well, they still do support plumbers, electricians. So we wanted to be able to show different messaging to different businesses. They also had some businesses that were both plumbers and electricians, so we can show them different content as well. We tailor ad messaging to different stages of the buying process. We personalize those email send times. We could get complete return on investment measurement in one place because we're feeding in from ChargeBee all of their billing information. And we could link their meetings, their sales approach, and all of their touch points that they're having with the customer back to the converted paid customers. So they really understood where to focus their marketing. And this was a startup, or is a startup, sorry, a very successful startup these days. And by having all of that data in one place, they were able to focus their energy on where it was most valuable. And I'll just give you a little example of what would happen with this product. So they would get here's an example where we sent them an email, said, this is people who used the software before they launched their mobile app. Before then it was web-based only. Then we would delay for 2 days because no one likes being followed up immediately. Then we would check whether they were actually a subscriber or not. So if they haven't gone back to trying a trial or paying, then we would wait until they were most likely to open the email, and then we'd send them another email. And that email was another email along the journey to try and nurture them towards trying it again. We weren't even really trying to sell it at this point. It was really about, we've got an app now. Lots of people said, please build us an app and then we'll come back. So that's what we did. You can see over here as well, people who are in trial or active subscribers, we didn't do anything with them here because that was a separate workflow. So what did this actually do for the business? They had a 633% increase in the deals that were created. They had a 256% increase in the deals that were closed on the other side. They were able to re-engage with dormant subscribers. If your email database is reasonably old at this point, just by personalizing the time that you send them an email, you can get 20 to 30% of those dormant subscribers to be active again. So they'll actually start seeing your emails and opening them and interacting with them. And lastly, it provided them with visibility over the return on investment of each of those channels. So really able to hone in on efficient growth. So it's a really good example of what you can do when you get this right, because it does have serious business benefits, which again, like I said before, it might be a nice thing to do for our customers and it might make them enjoy working with us more, but that's what we want because we want these kind of commercial results off the other end. So if you're speaking to your boss, your manager, your funding source and saying we need some money to invest in marketing automation, they go, what are we going to get out of it? This is the kind of information that you show them. And we'll have this recording available so you can show them. You really need to understand, okay, what is a 256% increase in deals closed worth to us? Because in most businesses, that's worth a lot. So I feel like we've covered a lot. I haven't had any questions, so that either means I've covered it really well or you're so blown away by what's going on that you're still digesting. But we're gonna wrap up now. If you've got any last questions though, throw them into the chat and I will go through them. But my key takeaways for you from this morning's session: technology is easy now. Like this isn't the kind of giant custom project that it used to be. So as marketers, we should focus on the process and the journeys, get them documented, get them as streamlined and improved as possible, and then look at how we use the technology to lift them up. Make sure that you get your tech stack right from the outset. Might be a bit hard if you've already inherited a tech stack, but get it right from the outset and you'll save yourself a lot of pain. It really doesn't have to be expensive, and the return on investment can be huge. From an automation perspective, some of the solutions that I mentioned today might cost you $40 or $50 a month, depending on how big your audience is, your number of emails and contacts. Other solutions might cost you maybe $1,500 to $2,000 a month. Really just depends on what you want to do and what the right tool is. And the other thing is it doesn't do everything for you. So the humans will always be important in the process. I'm advocating for marketing automation. I'm not advocating for replacement of marketers. Your jobs are safe. And on that note, I want to thank everyone for joining us for TechSoup Connect. We are going to take a bit of a break in August, but we've got some great new events that we're lining up for September, October, November towards Christmas. Make sure you keep an eye on the website for any new events. And if there's any last questions, I'll hang around, but otherwise, thank you very much for joining us. All right, thank you and goodbye.